The night I discovered the secret that shattered my family was the night everything I believed in turned to dust. You see, we were not a perfect family, but we were close. At least, that is what I thought. I trusted them with my heart, with my life, with every single piece of who I was. But betrayal does not come from strangers. It comes from the people you trust the most. And when I tell you how I found out, you might not believe it. It started on an ordinary evening. The house smelled of dinner, my father sat in his usual chair, my mother humming softly in the kitchen, and my sister scrolling on her phone with that distant smile she always had. Everything looked normal. But sometimes the most dangerous secrets hide behind the most ordinary nights. I walked into the kitchen to grab a glass of water, and that is when I heard it. A whisper. My mother's voice, low and trembling, like she was afraid someone might hear. I froze. She was on the phone. She thought I was upstairs. She thought I was far away. But I was right there, standing still, barely breathing. She said words that would never leave me. Words that cut deeper than any knife. She whispered, "He cannot know. If he finds out, the family will never be the same." My heart pounded in my chest. He cannot know. Who was she talking about? And what was the secret so big that it could destroy us? I stepped back quietly, my breath shaky, and I felt my knees weaken. I wanted to rush in, demand answers, but something inside me told me not to. Something told me the truth would come to me on its own. And God, I wish I had been wrong. That night I barely slept. My sister's laughter echoed down the hallway, my father's snores filled the silence, but all I could hear were my mother's words. He cannot know. I woke up the next morning with a pit in my stomach, determined to uncover the truth. Days turned into weeks, and I started watching them differently. My mother avoided my eyes more often. My sister left the house late at night, whispering into her phone before she slipped out the door. My father seemed more tired, more worn down, but he never said a word. And me? I became the silent observer, pretending everything was normal while every single fiber of me screamed that it was not. Then came the day when everything cracked. I was cleaning up the living room when a letter fell from the couch cushions. At first, I thought it was nothing. Just another bill, another meaningless paper. But when I opened it, my hands began to shake. The letter was addressed to my mother, but it wasn't from a friend or a company. It was from a man I had never heard of. A man who wrote to her like he had known her for years. A man who ended the letter with words that shattered me: "He still does not know I am the real father. Keep it that way." I felt my entire body freeze. My eyes burned, my chest tightened, and I swear in that moment I forgot how to breathe. My father, the man who raised me, who worked his entire life to provide for us, who carried me on his shoulders when I was a child, he was not my real father. And my mother had kept this from him all these years. I dropped the letter like it had burned me. My hands trembled as I stared at the floor, my thoughts a storm I could not escape. My sister walked in at that exact moment. She saw the letter before I could hide it. Her eyes widened, but not with shock. No, it was something else. Something darker. She knew. She already knew. And that smile on her face, that half smile that never reached her eyes, it finally made sense. She looked at me and said, "So, you finally found out." Her words were like venom. My knees gave out, and I sank to the floor, shaking my head, unable to believe the cruelty in her voice. She was my sister. She was supposed to protect me. Instead, she had been living in the shadow of this secret, comfortable in it, while I lived in ignorance. She crouched down beside me, her voice cold and steady. "Don't tell him. If Dad finds out, everything falls apart. And maybe that's what he deserves." Her words echoed in my head. Maybe that's what he deserves. My father, the man who sacrificed everything for us. And my sister wanted him to suffer. I wanted to scream. I wanted to rip the truth out of her, force her to explain why she was so calm about it, why she carried this secret like a weapon instead of a burden. But before I could say anything, she stood up, smirked, and walked away. That night I sat in my room staring at the ceiling, the letter still lying on the floor beside me. My entire world was upside down. My family was a lie. My mother had betrayed my father. My sister had betrayed me. And I was left in the middle, drowning in silence. But silence, I realized, was not weakness. Silence was power. And if they thought I would stay quiet forever, they were wrong. I began planning. Slowly, carefully, like someone stitching together a net, waiting for the right moment to trap them all in their own lies. And this was only the beginning. The next morning I looked at my father in a way I had never looked at him before. His tired smile, the wrinkles around his eyes, the way he reached for his morning tea like it was the only comfort left in the world, he had no idea. He had no idea that the family he built with his blood and sweat was a lie. I wanted to tell him right there, I wanted to scream the truth into his ears, but then I saw something in him. He was already broken, just not in the way he knew. And breaking him further without proof, without a plan, would make me no better than the ones who betrayed him. So I stayed quiet. Quiet, but watching. Quiet, but planning. My mother moved around the kitchen as if nothing had happened. Her voice was soft, too soft, like she was trying to hide the tremor underneath. My sister avoided me, but not out of fear. She avoided me with arrogance, like she knew I wouldn't say a word. Like she thought she was in control. That smirk on her face every time our eyes met told me everything. She wanted me to stay silent. She wanted me to carry the weight of this lie with her. But I refused. I started digging deeper. Late at night, when everyone was asleep, I searched through drawers, cabinets, old boxes tucked in the attic. I found letters, receipts, photographs that weren't supposed to exist. All of them told the same story. My mother had been seeing him for years. The man from the letter. The man who was supposedly my real father. And my sister, she wasn't just aware of it. She was helping her keep the secret. Covering for her. I felt disgust rise in my throat every time I pieced together another part of the puzzle. My childhood memories twisted into something rotten. Every smile, every family dinner, every hug from my mother now felt fake. And the worst part? My father, the man who loved us unconditionally, was the only one still living in the dark. One night I confronted my sister. I cornered her in the hallway, my voice shaking but firm. I asked her why. Why she let this lie eat us alive. Why she protected mother instead of father. And she looked at me with eyes colder than ice. You really don't get it, do you? She whispered. Dad isn't the strong man you think he is. He's weak. He's pathetic. He let her walk all over him. Maybe he deserves the truth, maybe he doesn't, but I'll be damned if you're the one to ruin everything for me. Her words cut me, but they also lit a fire inside me. She wasn't just protecting mother. She was enjoying it. She wanted the control, the power of knowing something no one else did. She thought I would stay silent because I loved my father too much to hurt him. And maybe she was right. For a while. But the more I watched, the more the anger grew. I started keeping a journal, writing down everything I found. The letters, the late-night phone calls, the meetings my mother had when she said she was going shopping. I even followed her once. I watched her sit in a car with him, that stranger who shared my blood, her hand resting on his like they were a family of their own. My stomach twisted, but I didn't look away. I needed to see it with my own eyes. I needed the evidence. I was building a case. Not for the police, not for the world, but for my father. Because when the truth came out, I wanted him to know it wasn't just a suspicion. It was real. And it had been happening right under his nose for years. The breaking point came on a Sunday afternoon. We were all sitting in the living room, pretending to be the perfect family, when my sister's phone buzzed. She smirked, got up, and left the room. Something in me snapped. I followed her quietly, my footsteps light, my heart pounding. She was in the backyard, whispering on the phone. Yeah, he doesn't know yet. No, he won't say anything. He's too scared. Don't worry, Mom has him wrapped around her finger. Dad's clueless. We're safe. Those words. We're safe. She wasn't just protecting Mother. She was protecting herself. She was part of the betrayal. I clenched my fists so hard my nails dug into my skin. I wanted to storm out, rip the phone from her hands, scream the truth into her face. But I stopped myself. No. Not yet. If I exploded now, it would all end too quickly. They would lie, twist the story, make me look like the crazy one. I needed patience. I needed precision. That night, while the house was asleep, I recorded a message for myself. My voice was trembling, but steady enough to capture what I knew. This family is built on lies. Mother has betrayed Father for years. Sister has been helping her. And me. I will expose them both. I will make them face the truth. My plan began to take shape. I would collect everything. Every letter, every photo, every call log, every piece of evidence I could find. And when the time was right, I would put it all in front of my father. I would not just tell him the truth. I would show him. And when he saw the betrayal with his own eyes, when he realized how deep it ran, it would destroy them. But revenge is a dangerous thing. The closer I got to the truth, the more it consumed me. I stopped sleeping, stopped eating. Every thought, every breath was filled with anger. And yet, there was still a piece of me that hesitated. A piece that whispered, what if the truth destroys him completely? What if you lose him too? That fear kept me up at night. But then I would remember my sister's smirk. My mother's lies. And I knew. They deserved what was coming. The question wasn't whether I would expose them. The question was how far I was willing to go. I stood outside the house that used to be my home, the walls that had once felt warm now looming like strangers. The air was heavy, almost suffocating, and for a moment, my legs refused to move. But I had come too far to turn back. Tonight was the night everything would come to light. Tonight was the night my family would finally face what they had done to me. Inside, the sound of laughter drifted through the windows. It was almost cruel, hearing them laugh as if nothing had ever happened. As if they hadn't broken me piece by piece, year after year. But that laughter wouldn't last long. I pushed open the door, and every head turned toward me. Silence. It was almost beautiful, the way their faces froze in shock. My mother's smile faltered first. My brother's glass slipped from his hand and shattered against the floor. My father's eyes narrowed, but behind that anger was something else, fear. I didn't speak right away. I wanted them to feel it, the weight of my presence, the ghost they thought they had buried. My silence was louder than any scream. My mother tried to stand, her voice trembling. We thought you wouldn't come. I know, I said calmly, my voice steady. You never thought I'd come back. You thought you could erase me. The room grew colder with every word I spoke. My brother shifted uncomfortably, his jaw tight, his eyes darting between me and the floor. He had always been the golden child, the one they adored, while I was nothing more than a shadow in my own home. But tonight, the shadow had become the storm. I laid out the truths one by one. The way they had stolen my trust. The lies whispered behind my back. The betrayals that had cut deeper than any knife. I spoke not with rage, but with precision, like a surgeon exposing the rot inside a body. And with each revelation, I watched their faces crack. My father tried to interrupt, his voice sharp. You don't understand what it was like for us. No, I cut him off, my eyes locking on his. You don't understand what it was like for me. To be your blood, your child, and yet to be treated as if I never mattered. To be discarded while you lifted him up. To be silenced while you celebrated lies. My mother's tears started to fall, her hands trembling. She whispered apologies, but they felt empty, too late, like water poured on ashes. I had begged for her love once. I had cried into her lap, asking her why I was never enough. And now, watching her break, I felt nothing. My brother finally stood, his pride unwilling to bend. You think you're better than us now? You come here, dragging up the past, blaming us for everything. Maybe you were just too weak. The words didn't cut me anymore. Instead, I laughed softly, a sound that made him flinch. Weak? No, brother. I was never weak. Weakness is hiding behind lies. Weakness is destroying family for greed. Weakness is living with the truth and pretending it's not eating you alive. You're the weak one. For the first time, I saw fear flicker in his eyes. It was small, but it was enough. I reached into my bag and pulled out the documents I had collected, the proof of every betrayal. Financial records, letters, recordings. Their sins laid bare on paper. I threw them onto the table, and the sound echoed through the room like thunder. My father's face drained of color. My brother stepped back, his arrogance crumbling. My mother covered her mouth with shaking hands. This, I said, pointing at the pile, is your legacy. Not love. Not family. Betrayal. Lies. Greed. This is what you built. The silence that followed was deafening. No one moved. No one spoke. The truth had taken the air from the room. For years I had dreamed of this moment, of screaming, of destroying, of making them feel the pain they gave me. But standing there, I realized I didn't need to destroy them with my hands. The truth was enough. Their punishment was in their shame, in knowing they had destroyed their own family with their own choices. I looked at my mother one last time. She whispered, "Please, don't leave." I felt a tear burn at the corner of my eye, but I didn't let it fall. You left me long before I ever left you. I turned and walked toward the door. My brother called after me, his voice breaking, but I didn't stop. My father slammed his fist on the table, but his anger was hollow now. They had no power left over me. Outside, the night air wrapped around me, cool and freeing. For the first time in years, I could breathe. My heart was heavy, yes, but it was also unchained. I had carried their betrayal for so long, but tonight I laid it down. Tonight I walked away, not as their victim, but as someone who survived. Their house faded behind me, but I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The past was theirs to live with. The future was mine to claim. And as I walked into the darkness, I realized something powerful. Revenge wasn't about destroying them. Revenge was about freeing myself from the chains they had put on me. And in that moment, I was free.